Let's talk about this with our guest, Major General G.G. Dwivedi, defense expert, joins us on the program. Major Lamtintang Kongsai, defense expert, also with us on the show. Last but not the least, Major Mohammed Ali Shah, defense expert, joins us on the program as well. And Ali, oftentimes in the past you have given solutions. You understand the topography of that area, you understand the demographics, and more than anything, Ali, you understand the people there. Why do you think, peace has been so elusive in Manipur, and how can we ensure that the longevity of, the status quo that we have achieved today with the help of our forces sustains?
Oh, that's a very good question, Vineet. Yes, you are 100% right, and I totally concur with General Dwivedi over here that firstly, it's an ethnic problem, not a communal problem. And secondly, a political problem does not have a military solution. So we heard Army Chief speak today, and I commend the Army Chief for giving a very, very crystal clear, crisp, to the point and bang on press conference today. I heard the entire press conference and I spoke on some channels on this, and it was really very clear. One thing I totally resonate with the Army Chief, where he said, the concluding parts of Manipur, he said, in the armed force, in the army, we have people from all the communities, all the tribes. We have, like, for example, you are yet to introduce, we will be having Major Lamtintang Kongsai. Also over here, my very, very dear old friend, we go back over 2 decades, over 20 years together, in fact. We all fought shoulder to shoulder in the army. No one saw whether you are Kuki, you are Maite, you are Muslim, you are Hindu, you are Sikh, or you are Christian, or you are Jew, or whatever. I mean, we all fought, we all lived together. And what the Army Chief said, they all sleep in the same barracks, they all eat together, they play together, they live together, they coexist together. Now, the very fact, why has peace not been able to come into Manipur till today, till now? And so many days have passed. It has to actually, where I think what the problem is, it needs political will, honestly speaking. When there's political will, of course, and military cannot do much, unfortunately, because the hands are tied. You give military, with the responsibility comes authority. You have to give the military, the army, and I must say the army and the Assam Rifles are doing a commendable job. Just yesterday, the Director General of the Assam Rifles, Lieutenant General PC Nair, General Pradeep Nair, he visited Moreh and he took stock of the situation because there was a recent firefight between the security forces and insurgents in Moreh, in fact. So the very fact, and he met the CSOs, the civil people over there who belong to the Maite community also, to the Kuki tribe also, to the Pangal also, to the Sikh community, to the Tamils, to the Gorkhas. He addressed everyone. And he assured them that the Assam Rifles will stand by their Sobrika, friends of the hill people. And I'm very proud of the fact that, I had served in the army as the ADC to the Corps Commander, where General Dwivedi was the GOC at the same time. And also with the Assam Rifles. In fact, this is an Assam Rifles tie, which I wear with a lot of pride. So the very fact is why peace has not been restored in Manipur, unfortunately, despite a peace committee which was formed, which was rebuked thereafter, which was rejected by the people. Because obviously when you put in a member without taking his consent, he'll be surprised. It came as a surprise to many people, in fact, who I have spoken to, who I know of. Peace, it is, if you give it in the hands of the army, let me assure you one thing, the army knows its job very, very well. And as General Manoj Pande rightly said, he addressed the issues of LAC, of JNK. But here, particularly if I have to stick on to Manipur, if you hand it over to the army, and I'm very confident of that fact that the army will sort out the mess within 48 hours, it will not be, but you have to hand it over. As General Manoj Pande rightly said, the army is there as an aid to the civil authorities. So when the army is there and there's unrest, army has to be called. There has to be a requisition as an aid to the civil authority. Then you need a magistrate, you need maps, you need permissions, you need several other things, and then the army gets a free hand. And then once an army takes it, that's it, khadakat. I can vouch with conviction of that fact that the army will clean up the mess within no time, provided the army has to be given, has to be called in for that.
All right, good points there. We also opened Major Kongsai into this conversation. Major Kongsai, you've been on our shows before. You have given articulate, solutions of what needs to be done. The army coming in and maintaining peace and order is obviously an option. In your perspective, what is the default option that usually and largely persists in the rest of the country that also should be available to the people of Manipur when it comes to this violence and this disruption of normal life?
Thank you so much, NewsX, for having me here. And I feel privileged to be on the side of General Trivedi and Major Ali, who is my good old friend. I'm in total agreement with my gentlemen panels. The solution lies with the political will, which is definitely lacking. Very unfortunately, I could not listen to the press briefing of the Chief of Army Staff, but just gist of it, which I just overheard it, normalcy returning back, that one is far from normal, that I should say. A capital of a state which is devoid of one ethnicity. This is what is happening right now. Imphal is the capital city which was shared by three ethnicity, the Meitei, the Nagas, and the Kukis. Now, Imphal, for the past 7-8 months, there is no soul of Kukis in Imphal. And that is not an issue in India. And it's a democratic country. This is very, very surprising. And this is very appalling. And this is very shocking. And separation of the ethnicity and by force and keeping the forces in between and trying to take that as a normalcy and limping back to normal, then that will be very, very sad situation. The capital, which is, and without that, how can we fall back to normal? No, every day 4-5 flights move in and move out of Imphal, but no soul of a Kuki could land in Imphal for the past 7-8 months. And with that, how can you say things are normal? Things are limping back to normal. That is what I said. And I'm in line with my co-panels, General Trivedi and Major Ali. What is lacking from the beginning that I used to repeat it is the political will. If the political will from Delhi is very clear, this ethnic problem could be solved in maximum in a month time or maybe less than that. That is very unfortunate, and lots of loss of life could have been prevented. Now also, I plead for the political will and the intervention of the Delhi and the intervention of the prime ministers is the need of the hour. As soon as the Delhi realized that this could only be solved by the political will, the earlier Delhi realized it, it would be the better for the people of Manipur and people of the country in general. Thank you so much.
Major Mohammed Ali Shah, the word China comes in, and there's obviously concern about how influential China has become, especially when it comes to the vulnerabilities which have been leveraged by them. How do you think that can be insulated?
Again, a very good question by you, Vineet. See, the role of China cannot be completely ruled out. And yes, it has to be investigated. It has to be seen where and what and how is China's hand into it. Because China has always harbored ill feelings towards India. And wherever things go wrong in India, they'll be cheering from outside. So most certainly, like for example, you remember how we won this panel together where Chinese, they did a Islamic slicing from Nepal side and they came into towards Pithoragarh, 70 kilometers from Pithoragarh towards Lipudura, Kalapani, Lipu Lake, towards that side. And that's been Chinese old strategy. But here, completely, as the Chief Minister did say, he did suggest that external people have come in. But whatever said and done, whether people from outside came or it was an internal problem, whatever, I really think it is the responsibility of the state government completely to ensure safety and security of its citizens, whether they might be Meitei, they might be Kukis, And thankfully so, the Nagas haven't jumped into it, and I'm glad and I hope the Naga hosts, especially, they've showed great restraint, and I'm glad about that. I hope they continue showing that restraint. And one more thing, coming back to the Chief of the Army Staff, since you are showing him on screen, he said the Army and the Assam Rifles both together, they have worked in tandem and they have shown great restraint and in working over there in difficult terrains, in difficult conditions. And yes, and it's my compliments to them. In fact, all the panelists over here, the General Officer, General Dwivedi Saab, Major Khongsai, my dear buddy, myself, we know that soil very well. So it is actually very difficult. And the only way forward, even for military or anything, is when you win hearts and mind and you make the people feel that you're on their side. But here, it is not an insurgency problem. Manipur had an insurgency problem, yes. There were underground groups, yes. There was UNLF, which has now signed a peace deal with the Indian government, with the a truce deal. There was the United Nations Liberation Front. There was PLA, People Liberation Army. There's PREPARC. There's the KYKL, Kangla Yaman Kanalo. There was a group called Pulse earlier, which was a very small group. Now I don't know what's become of them now. And so Manipur has seen a lot of insurgency problem. But now here it's an ethnic problem where two communities are fighting or peace hone ke naam nahi le raha kuch bhi. So now, and Manipur again is a state where it is different territories. Like for example, if you have to serve there, you have to know the geography, demography, topography, history of the region. You should know the area back of your hand. You should understand the tribal culture. You should understand the community culture. You should understand the dialects, because every tribe has a different dialect again. They have a different festival. Like for example, the cookies would be having the Kut festival. Like they have Kut Queen organized every year. It's a huge festival for them. Similarly, for the Maites the Sanamais have a different festival. Similarly, one has to have a thorough understanding about the northeast part of India, which unfortunately, I'll just quickly conclude by telling you, Vineet, you'll not believe it. A few days back, there was somebody who had the cheek to argue with me, saying that Manipur is in Guwahati. That is the level of understanding. This is an intellectual, mind you. This is a so-called intellectual. It is not somebody run of the mill. So when that is the understanding of some of our intellectuals, I am afraid, I don't know what kind of an understanding will further on be. When the Chief of Army Staff, very crisp, very precise, when he puts things in perspective, a lot of people, yes, would, and we cannot neglect Manipur. And I'm glad, Manipur has contributed a lot in the nation building. They've produced people like Mary Kom, Mirabai Chanu, Ratan Thayam, who's a very renowned theatre personality. Major Khongsai, my dear friend, a very gallant officer, he's sitting here. So Manipur has produced. Major Rajkumar Jaljit Singh is again a very, very dear friend of ours. In fact, we trained in the army, and he's a Maite. And we never saw anybody as which village you are from, which caste, creed, religion, region. No, in the army we were all one. And as the Chief of the Army Staff rightly said, in the army we only follow one religion. That's the Indian Army. That's the country. Country comes first, always and every time. So the very fact is, it would not be that difficult, Vineet, if you really, when the will is the way, jahan chahe wahan raah hai. Agar aap chahte, if you really want peace to come in, you can actually, instead of doing jungle bashing, operate straight with intelligence. And when you operate with using your top sword with intelligence, I think the state government has to, again, like for example, I'll tell you, in Moreh is primarily Kuki dominated. Okay, Tengnopal is again Kuki dominated, but Moreh is mixed, I would say. Now there is Kakchin, very close to this Palel, and there is Kakchin, and then Bhobel influx towards the plains, the valley side. That is primarily Maite dominated. Now when people have to understand, like Ukhrul is another district which is Tangkul dominated. Tangkul are who? Tangkul are the Manipuri Nagas. The Naga warriors of Manipur are the Tangkuls. So like they are Maram Nagas, there's a place called Maram near Kangpokpi. So one has to really have the in-depth understanding. When I told you about this case of this intellectual who was arguing with me that Manipur is in Guwahati. So I feel very sorry to say that we cannot neglect the most beautiful land, which is part of India. There's a lot of talk about Maldives right now. How many people have explored India? How many people have actually gone to the northeast part of India, to exotic locations like Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Arunachal? Beautiful places. We must explore those places for tourism. Manipur was coming up in a very good way. There was Miss India held. There was an international polo tournament in Imphal. There were a whole lot of things. And 3rd May, well, I think that 3rd May was a reported incident that took place. This thing was actually, the tensions were brewing up before 3rd May, is what I have given to understand by my interaction with the communities over there from both the communities. In fact, Major Lamteng Khongsai would be a better person to throw some light on that, if I'm right or wrong. But that's my presumption. I think the tension was building up before 3rd May. Khongsai, am I right or wrong?
Major
Right,
Khongsai,
right.
Would you like to respond to that, sir? We've almost run out of time.
Yeah, I am absolutely agreeing with Major Ali. The tension was built almost 5, 6, or maybe more than that